up, internet? It's the Jerry crew, yeah! Welcome to Jerry Christmas. Hallelujah. Hallelujah. Okay, so we decided to start a new series that I feel like is needed. When I was a kid, I was like a super girly girl, and I loved the Barbie movies.
Loved them.
Loved them.
But here I was, blowing my Barbies up with fireworks. Well, so we decided to delve into the nostalgia of Cassidy's childhood and hopefully yours too. Whoa, where'd that vest come from? Ah.
The Jerry crew presents Barbie the Nutcracker, the review. The two fairies are just basically me and Kate.
Cass loves flowers and, you know, I'm cold-hearted. Owen is dead to me.
Then we cut to a new scene where Barbie and one little girl are dancing around in a ballet studio.
Where's the rest of the class? Why is it just this one child? Did it get that bad of reviews?
Kelly is Barbie's little sister, so like they couldn't get any other kids.
The only person that would be in this is a relative, apparently.
That's funny. Kelly just freaking makes this noise with her sister.
If my sister, I don't have one, but if my sister made that noise, I would gladly disown her.
So Barbie's just kind of out of nowhere decides to sit Kelly down and be like, you know what's gonna help you dance better? A story.
You've just got to find the courage to try. Like Clara.
Because that's gonna help everything.
That'll fix it.
She and her little brother Tommy were being raised by their grandfather Drosselmeyer.
What the? Drosselmeyer? Grandpa Drosselmeyer does not seem like a likable fellow. He just walks in, he's just like...
Candles. We need more candles.
He's just screaming about candles.
So then the cool, edgy feminist aunt comes in, but what's her name?
Aunt Drosselmeyer.
Do these people have first names?
Why couldn't she just be like,
Brother
Auntie?
Drosselmeyer, sister Drosselmeyer, mother Drosselmeyer,
Like-
we got fucking puppy Drosselmeyer.
She comes in and Grandpa Drosselmeyer is not having it.
You're already conspiring against me.
Don't worry. I'll wait until your party's over before I perform any mischief.
What mischief are we talking about? You're that one relative that we never know what the mischief's gonna be. It could be like you snuck cocaine in your purse. Oh, we found out that her name's Elizabeth. She starts telling Clara about her life, what she's been up to.
Then he bowed and asked me to dance.
Did you?
I couldn't say no to the king.
Well, you could, but you know...
Bring me his head.
I mean, if she
Agreed.
wanted to get decapitated, maybe she could do that.
But then again, Cass, I want to. Basically, according to Mr. Old Guy, you shouldn't tell your niece what you've been up to.
I'd appreciate it, Elizabeth, if you'd stop filling Clara's head with your stories.
Yeah, he gets all uppity about it.
You should not do that. Because if you do, you're ruining Christmas. Tommy is blamed for every inconvenience, and also Tommy's gonna get his ass kicked by me because just, come on, just like listen to him.
Hey!
You know what the real title of this movie should be? It should just be called Tommy Ruins Christmas.
What?
So she comes in and she's got some presents. First he starts like speaking in tongues about military things.
A grenadier guard and a Bengal lancer.
He starts speaking Latin!
A nutcracker. Then I'll use him to command my army. Hey! You're impossible.
Well, he's there, so I guess he was kind of possible.
Yeah. And then we find out that Clara has schizophrenia.
Please don't be too angry with Tommy. I'm sure he didn't mean to hurt you.
Clara goes to sleep because who
With
the heck wouldn't?
The doll.
Yeah, with the doll.
The wooden doll. Which that can't be comfortable if you roll on top of it in the middle of the night.
No.
Or if you find out, like in the middle of the night, that it's shoved up in a crevice that you don't want it to be in. That's
Yeah.
uncomfortable, Clara!
And then we go into this montage thing.
they need to get a new clock.
Yeah, they do.
Because this one's possessed. Like, it's enough that their clock is possessed, but then Mouse Hitler shows up.
He sounds like he smokes 10 packs a day, let's be honest.
Nutcracker.
Butt scratcher!
The Nutcracker just stands up, he becomes like alive because, you know, plot, and he's like,
Insolent mice!
When I'm walking on the streets of the city, my number one thing that I repeat in my head over and over about the people around me is insolent mice! This fighting montage is what caused me to have the suicide hotline on speed dial.
so Clara goes and she runs up to Mouse Hitler and is like,
Not in my house.
Yeah, that'll do it! Mouse Hitler is also a Dr. Seuss hybrid.
Meddling human, towering tall. Let my scepter shrink you small.
Mouse Hitler's like, no, so then he shrinks her.
This is not good.
And also, like, they're acting like it's so urgent to, like, escape these mice. Look at how fast they're going. Like, a limping toddler that doesn't know how to walk could go faster than these mice. Clara does something useful for once and decides to kick her shoe off like how you do at midnight when you're at a club and don't want your shoes on anymore.
I was about to leave at that point, but Cassie told me that I had to watch the rest of the movie.
The owl shows up again, but this time apparently it can talk, and it sounds like Aunt Drosselmeyer.
Perhaps I can help.
And basically gives a bunch of exposition.
I'm afraid only the Sugar Plum Princess can reverse the Mouse King's spell.
I can already tell by this point that Clara is the Sugar Plum Princess. Spoiler alert, but if you can't tell already, come on, like... Oh, she should not have shrooms before bed.
They find themselves trapped in an ice cave. They find his arm in a snowbank. Basically, he's just like...
Tis but a scratch.
They decide to like look around, you know, the ice cave they're trapped in. He decides to do this.
These walls are solid ice.
Like, you couldn't tell that it was solid ice before you did that?
And like now his sword's like ruined. Like how is he gonna stab people now? Have you not watched Game of Thrones? Fairy Kate shows up and decides to bitch out the Nutcracker as she does.
Yes, I do. That's just what I do. And then there's this dance number that I don't really get what the point of it is.
When trapped, start dancing.
Basically, this bat comes out of nowhere. It's a Bartok ripoff from Anastasia, and the movie would have been perfectly fine without him. He's pointless. Clara is telling this horse to be steady when it's not even moving.
Steady.
It's like it's not moving. Like, I could understand if it was like going nuts and stuff, but literally it was standing still, minding its own business, and she's just like, be steady. And like, it was.
So basically they start wondering about the Narnia ripoff place and they come across snowballs and they're like, oh.
It's an ambush! Take cover!
It's like, I think that's a little bit of a strong word for snowballs being thrown at you.
It's all right. They're just children.
They come across a group of rebels. Mouse Hitler is also Mouse Hitler Dr. Seuss Jafar because apparently the prince's father left the kingdom in the hands of the mouse and that's how Mouse Hitler took over the kingdom. Moral of the story, don't ever leave your assets to a mouse. Here's these two guys that are the leaders, like this colonel guy who's just an angry white man, and then there's a cool guy named
Captain Candy.
Cut back to Mouse Hitler again.
As if we didn't get enough of that.
He's punishing, you know, his own Nazi brethren. And he's like, you know what makes sense? I'm gonna turn them into bookends. No, and I'm not even like crapping you. Like, here it is.
You shall be bookends for eternity.
Ultimate punishment, isn't it? He could have turned them into dildos. Come on, that would have been humiliating. But no, just bookends!
He's literally freaking Mouse Hitler, Dr. Seuss, Jafar, White Witch from Narnia. That's what he is.
Can't I have just one?
No!
Mouse Hitler decides to summon a rock monster because, you know, that makes sense.
Yeah, sure, why not?
The rock monster decides to go after our gang of hooligans. We're back in the treehouse and they start talking about this Prince Eric fellow.
Prince Eric? He's the reason we're in this mess.
Who apparently was supposed to inherit the kingdom, but was such a hooligan. The king decided, nah, Mouse Hitler, that makes more sense. And the one friend, Captain Candy's
Captain Candy, you mean?
asks what happened to Prince Eric, because apparently that was like his best friend. The Nutcracker says,
The Mouse King destroyed him.
he walks away.
Like, okay, you deliver bad news, right? You deliver some bad news, right?
Yeah.
Like, oh, if I were to just be like, hey, Cassidy, your entire family died.
What? That's what he did. No, and then on top of it, then the Nutcracker broodingly walks outside and goes and sits, you know, to look at the moon. Clara goes and sits next to him, and guess who the Nutcracker is?
You're more than a nutcracker, Prince Eric.
Oh, I didn't know that!
He just told his best friend that he was dead when he got reunited with his best friend and wouldn't tell him that he was actually his best friend. He would rather go and see his friend grieve over his death than just be like, hey, I'm fine, I'm just like a nutcracker.
Yeah.
That's so bad.
Yeah, it is.
So then they decide to go on a thing to look for the Sugar Plum Princess. I wonder who that is.
I wonder who that is. Oh.
They come across this ravine.
Yeah, this Colonel guy has a fucking, superiority complex.
Perhaps you should remember who's in charge of this expedition.
There's this one point where it looks like he falls off. Like, look at this.
Right here, no problem at all. Come along.
It looks like he falls off, and I was just like, oh, yes, finally. And then it turns out that he didn't. He pushes Captain Candy off.
It is a little bit.
But you know what? It was okay because Captain Candy grabbed a branch and he's like, you know, we're doing that whole cliche.
Nutcracker is like helping him.
The Nutcracker is almost like getting dragged into the ravine himself, and Clara's just sitting there like,
I'm okay with the events that are unfolding.
Oh, you got this, He's almost falling to his death too, but she's just like, you got it.
So then Captain Candy calls the Colonel.
You mean
out.
Captain Candy?
Thanks to you, I almost fell into the ravine.
Well, don't blame me for your sloppy footwork and general clumsiness.
Clumsy? I'm clumsy?
And the Colonel just, his freaking commentary.
Every single time he says a word like,
I'll be gobstruck.
I want to die more.
The fairy me decides to come out of the sewer with her other friends.
Yeah, because that's where Cassidy usually is.
They have another pointless dance montage. They're looking for supplies.
My favorite part in the movie, okay? They have no supplies. The Nutcracker takes an apple. It holds up one single apple and it's just like,
Supplies.
you're going on an expedition and someone in your group just goes, hey look, supplies.
The unnecessary rock monster decides to descend from the hills. No, they had like this long shot of just the rock monster just smashing the apples.
Hello, darkness, my old friend. I've come to talk with you again.
I hate Christmas. The ice fairies come up and they freeze the ocean. The horse, the steadied horse, you know, that we met before, comes out of nowhere and is like, at the right time, and is like, hey, as the rock monster goes on it and it's still fine.
There's this one part where the Colonel nearly was totally fine with just leaving the Nutcracker behind. The Nutcracker decides to stop the rock monster from catching up to them by stabbing the ice, because this time it worked.
They're in the horse-drawn sleigh, and Clara is comforting her man.
Her wooden doll.
And saved us from a vicious pile of rock.
When Chad needs encouragement, you gotta just tell him, look at all of it you've done for us.
You saved us from rocks.
So then it cuts to Mouse Hitler again.
Here it is, the Sugar Plum Princess. Kind, clever, and brave. That's it.
Please, please, please stop with the close-ups on Mouse Hitler, please.
You know what I just realized about the bat? The bat sounds like Doodle Bob.
Why don't you just blast him with your scepter?
Cut back to our heroes, and they're done traveling across the ice ocean. They start exploring the island to try to find the Sugar Plum Princess, and they come across a big princess castle.
It's only a model.
What?
All the heroes except for Clara get stolen, and Clara's just like, what am I gonna do?
Absolutely nothing.
But then, Flower Child fairies come up out of the depths of nowhere again with a convenient swing.
I'd like to know why the fuck they didn't do that in the beginning.
She abandons the friggin' horse on the island. My horse girl self is shooketh. Well, she makes it to the Mouse King's lair. Clara tries to be discreet.
She like spends the first couple seconds just like, and then she's just like, oh fuck.
She comes across some mouse guards.
He said if you didn't hurry, you'd spend the rest of your lives as houseflies.
And guess what? It works. So Barbie gets into the high security cell and starts hearing voices.
Clara.
Just kidding. It's fine. You know, they're actually there.
You can never tell with her.
Nutcracker and Clara share a nice hug. Captain Candy feels the need to cover his face.
Hugs are the equivalent of smashing. Like if me and Cassidy were to hug on the streets, like, oh man, yeah. I expect everybody on the streets to just be like, avert your eyes.
The peasants somehow end up to the Mouse King's lair, and the Mouse King is deciding that he's making this big bonfire to kill the Nutcracker. On the Nutcracker, he may be Prince Eric, but he's also the King of Discreet.
Is this any way to run a kingdom, Mouse?
And you know what the Mouse Hitler does? He changes the peasants into stone.
How dare you be poor?
Ha! You really should have thought of that before you became peasants.
Dismemberment or barbecue?
I would like both, please.
No! You're nothing but a coward.
I obviously didn't shrink you small enough. Your mouth is still much too big.
I am shooketh.
The Mouse Hitler jumps into the sewer to teach the Ninja Turtles how to fight.
That's exactly what happened.
The Nutcracker turns into Prince Eric.
What? That's insane.
Barbie turns into
the Sugar Plum Princess.
The princess has been with us all along.
The whole journey was pointless.
Don't hit me with that what shit.
They have another pointless dance scene.
It's magical dancing.
You're free to take your rightful place as king.
Well, that's for the people to decide.
3 cheers for Prince Eric!
There weren't that many peasants there. The country seemed like it was pretty big.
Yeah, but they're just going based off of 10 people's opinions. Oh, I'm gonna let the people of the country decide. All 10 of them. Oh.
As your king, I will let the wise leadership of my father be my guide.
You know what? Your father's wise rule is what got us into this mess. I guess there'll be a part 2 because there'll be like a Mouse Stalin. OMG, Mouse Hitler's back.
No reason for him to come back. It literally is like 5 seconds of him just being, haha, I'm back. And like a little girl throwing a snowball and going, and then it's just like 5 seconds of, aha, oh, he's back. And then it's just like, it's pointless because 5 seconds later, he's not anymore.
Really,
and the point was
to make Clara go back to the human world.
I love you.
Too bad. And then we go into this amazing gem of the movie.
The mice had a party of their own last night.
It wasn't a party. It was a war. The Nutcracker was fighting the Mouse King, who shrunk me with this golden scepter.
I've never heard such a story, even from your aunt.
It's not a story. It really happened. Time to open presents! Tommy, did you take my Nutcracker?
Why would I want him? He's just a hunk of wood.
You're wrong! He's really a king. An evil mouse was ruling his land.
Perhaps I should send for a doctor.
It's literally just like, if you just woke up, like if you woke up on your couch after that, you would literally just assume that it's a dream. Why would you, after having a dream, go on and start talking about how your dream is real. Have you never had a dream, Barbie?
Look who I ran into while I was taking my morning stroll.
This guy is
Prince Eric, who abandons his kingdom just to go and be with Clara in the real world, so the kingdom's screwed again. Grandpa's not having it.
Such familiarity. In my day, we would never have.
Well, I wouldn't have that either, to be honest. Just get this person out of my house.
But then it was like, you know, Clara needs a husband.
I couldn't say no to the king.
Yes, you can.
Yes, you can. For the prick I am, I would say no to the king.
Yeah.
Because I hate authority. I would get killed, but it'd be okay because I would want that. Or maybe as a punishment, the king would keep me alive.
There's another pointless dance scene with Barbie and Kelly.
I did it!
I did it! I did it! How the fuck did this story teach her how to dance?
What did you think of the movie? Because I was a little bit nostalgic over it because I loved this movie as a kid.
I've never watched this movie in my life. I never watched the Barbie movies growing up. So, being 21 and watching it for the first time, I was a little, pissed off the entire time.
In all honesty, though, I would give the movie like a 5 out of 10 because
5 out of 10, because if you were under 7,
it's good. It's wholesome.
It's not bad.
It's not bad by any means.
It's filled with cliches, but like, if you're a certain age, if you're like under 7, you don't know those cliches yet, so it's like you don't care.
The CGI is very dated.
Some of the voice acting is just odd.
It's not necessarily
bad,
it's just really odd. It's just very odd, yeah.
It's just like, why'd you choose to say it like that?
Good for kids. If you're an adult watching it, you might need some alcohol. Anyway, if you like what you saw, please click like and subscribe.
Subscribe to see more whatever the heck this was.
Happy Christmas, guys! Woo!
The last note of a song from Jerry and his fucked up friend.